about to say, we are not live. It's Tuesday, so that means group chat with yours truly, Chris Barnett. And remember, I made that commitment a couple weeks ago. Group chat, we're going to use this show to highlight and showcase people doing great things in the community. And I'm here at Okkodo High School, home of the 2019 Guam Mock Trial Champions. I'm here with some STEM students. And let's go ahead and introduce you guys. First of all, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Rudy Cruz.
Good morning. My name is Veronica Bias.
Good day, I'm Lord Mabalit.
Good day.
Good morning, I'm Darryl Mercado.
All right, and these are STEM students, and they won third place at a STEM competition in Texas. Let's move up to the table here. We're going to get into the cool robotics because, we did a show with JFK, and they did more of the engineering because STEM stands for science, technology, and math, right? So they did engineering, and they're real clear, like, this is not robotics, okay? This is engineering, right? Now, you guys are definitely robotics, which I think is so cool. I mean, robotics, that's one facet of STEM, and it's really taken off over the last 5 to 7 years. I know that there was a really great documentary that I watched about a little school in, I think, New Mexico or something with these kids that got STEM funding, and they're able to do really good. And we do really great in these off-island STEM competitions. So first of all, let's talk about going to Texas. I mean, wow, culture shock, a little bit, right, from Guam to Texas. What was it like when you guys got off the plane headed to that competition?
It was a really long flight. It was 23 hours in the air from here to Honolulu to Denver to Texas. So when we arrived there, it was just a huge relief to finally be there after such a long flight.
And tell us a little bit about how you guys felt going into that competition.
I mean, everyone was actually pretty nice. Everywhere you go, people actually helped us. There were actually people who were champions for the competition for 2 consecutive years, and they actually helped us out by giving us their code for their for robot.
So I'm pretty sure there's a lot of camaraderie, but what was the competition like? Was it fierce, or was it kind of just like a one big family?
It was more of one big family. This is due because EV3 was built upon just learning and conceiving with your community and having a way of people to progress in technology, and to learn young is a really good start off.
Right, and we got the team captain here, my man Darryl. And tell us a little bit about the mental preparation that you guys did before even getting on that plane to Texas.
Well, honestly, before we even went onto the plane, we really felt like we were going to lose. We weren't going to get anywhere because Guam is such a small place, and compared to them, they have so much ways to get an advancement over us. And then, honestly, it was really hard just to get onto the plane and then believe that we could actually be there with them. But while we were on the plane, we all had to talk to each other. We all had to try getting our mind into we had to get the mentality of trying to get into the competition and just trying to score really high,
And so what point did you realize that you guys had a shot and did your confidence start to go up?
Well, on our first ever round, honestly, we scored the highest out of everybody else. And then that just showed us on the leaderboard. We were above them, I believe, by more than 40 points or so, and that's a lot of points.
Not too shabby.
I know, right? Over to all the other schools, we were the highest on the first and second round, and then we really thought that we had a chance. Yeah.
So let's talk about the STEM work you guys do here at Okkodo High School. And how is that? I mean, like your team captain said, come from Guam, such a tiny little island, you go off to the States, and you see that you guys actually have a seat at the table with these school programs that have much more funding that come from, bigger student populations.
Um, it's scary to see, but it just shows how creativity comes out as a person and how it's not really the money or how it is. It's more of your personal background and how you are ways to motivate and flex, like make your time flexible and just doing it.
It's all about that flex. Let's talk about how instrumental your teachers and advisors were in preparing you guys for this competition.
I mean, we had Mr. Hidalgo who actually helped us throughout the process when we were working with the EV3. I mean, he always like every time during lunch he always go to the classroom and checked up on us and checked how we're doing and everything else. Also, thank you for Dr. Nahaliwa for actually fighting for the budget for us to go to Texas, because if not for her, we might not even be able to go because it's so expensive. So I would just like to thank them for all their hard work.
And let's talk about this STEM bug and robotics in general. It really seems like a lot of students on Guam and different schools are really, latching onto the STEM issue.
Well, STEM is a relatively new thing that recently arrived a couple years ago, so it's important to get a lot of people involved in it, because since technology is advancing more recently, and it's important to be more involved, basically. So, yeah.
And what attracted you to the robotics part of STEM?
Well, robotics, I always was fascinated as a kid to get into robotics, especially from all the movies I was able to see with my dad. I was really able to bond with my dad through real steel, and that kind of made me get really interested
Choked
in
up on
technology,
that
you know? All the way up, gotta dance. And then that was just really great. And then as soon as I found out in middle school that it was actually open and you were able to join, I just started to join. It was really fun. I started to bond with other schools, and yeah, that was just a way for me to express myself, so I got into it.
How about you, Lord? What was the inspiration for you to get into robotics?
It's similar to Daryl. It's just because we came in from the same background in the same middle school. I just thought it would be fun to try something new and to just explore new ideas. It's always good to keep on going and multitasking and putting more engagement into your school life when you're young. This makes you a happier and better person after all.
Right. So let's look at this now. It's an EB. What does that stand for?
EV3.
EV3. Sorry.
An EV3, it doesn't really stand for anything, but it's the type of model by Lego.
Right. Okay. So let's get up here. Yeah, you guys are cool, but it's really about the EV3 here.
Yeah.
And so explain to us, Veronica, what we're going to be seeing here and what this EV3 is going to be doing.
So first of all, Daryl will try to position the bot so it can go to the cotton balls right here, and then the crane would go down and try to pick it up, and then the task mission is for it to drop both of them here in this cup right here, and then after that, the next mission or task we're gonna do is for the crane to also reach this PVC pipe right here, and for it to be able to drop down here without rolling and staying there for at least 3 seconds. Then after that, it has to go back. It has to park right here. It has to be like this and make sure nothing overlaps or will lose points.
Just like parking a car, you got to stay in the
Yep.
lines.
Yep.
Let's talk about the amount of programming that went into giving this bot a path and telling it where to go. How hard is that? Because I mean, I thought you come in here and you press the button, it's like, rah, 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 but this thing is actually programmed.
So I'm sort of the main coder when it comes to this. EV3, it comes with its own program to help like code and everything. And each brick, each little movement, as in like moving forward, opening, closing, and stuff like that, each of those are one brick, and each brick has its separate functions. So when you combine all of those bricks together, you make a code set, and all of that links together to form what it needs to do to accomplish the mission.
So how many bricks does it take for this bot to go all around and do all these cool tricks?
For the mission we're about to do, I'd say around 60.
Wow, that's a lot. I have no idea what 60 bricks is, but it's a lot. It's more than 50.
Yeah.
And so, Veronica, tell us, I'm pretty sure each of you, or do you guys each have a specific role in this team?
Since it's actually my first year in robotics, and I had no like one sort experience about EV3. I'm just mainly there to help them out, set up the board and everything. They mostly actually did most of the work, so yeah.
Lord,
I am
come on up.
I am more of the main engineer of this and creating the bot. Yeah.
Daryl.
I'm the team captain, so I also work together with Lord and I also work together with Rudy, and I kind of create the bridge between them so I could establish what needs to be done, how could they code for this, and how could they add this into the bot, and how it would affect the code and everything.
As the main coder, can you tell us what are some of the practical applications of this coding skill that you have in terms of what other things can you use it on besides bots and after you leave school?
So for the practical applications for the bot, most of it needs to be as precise and consistent as possible. That was one of the main things we struggled with because with a code set, it's very specific. And so you need to get all of it completely accurate. And the main thing we struggled with is how we would position the robot as to where it would follow the code concisely. So that was one of our main issues. And coding isn't just restricted to a specific part of technology, you know? So as to EV3, this isn't the only type of coding you could do. You know, there's other stuff you could do. You could create your own kind of code if you want.
And so what other kind of codes do you work on?
This is the main one I work on. I don't really work on other codes because I've been working on EV3 since elementary, actually, nearly when it first started, and also in middle school with Lord and Daryl.
All right, so we're going to see some cool tricks now?
We hope so. I mean, like, the big thing is consistency, so if it messes up on the first try, I might reset it, but then if it gets a good run, I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Right on. And so let's talk about the real world use of these bots. You know, what type of things are these bots used for in the world? I know there are some military applications, but what other applications do they have?
These bots application actually branches out in ways to just help and more replace human activity and emotion that may cause people harm and violence. So these bots are very helpful in ways that they don't change and like have emotions that may cause people to feel pain or such things.
Those darn emotions, I tell you, it's getting in the way. And so now we're checking out the bot. What's the name of your bot? Did you guys name it?
We named it Bob.
Bob the bot.
No, it's just Bob because like in the beginning or like basically in the first quarter where the competition we didn't know about yet, we were just playing with the bot. We're just like, why don't we just name it Bob? It's like the easiest name there is.
It is. And Daryl, walk us through what we're seeing here.
Well, right now, what you are seeing is our bot, what we would be using in the actual mission, but it would be more accurate, you know. But what you are seeing right now is that this is supposed to be simulating if it was to be used in a factory. So then, for example, this would be like a pillar that we're not supposed to be touching, or else it would like destroy the building. And then this piece of trash, this would be like imagine like a large debris, or like it would be simulating that. It would be placed on top of something. The bot was grabbed it, moved it over by itself, and then pushed it into the trash can. Then this second piece is another, for example, maybe like a large metal. It grabbed it, moved it over, disposed it right over the wall, and then after that, it would move back and come right back home.
How many hours goes into being able to just the programming side and making the bot do what it just did?
Programming-wise, you couldn't really put a limit to how long you would want it, because like you'd always break it down, make it even longer if you want it to be. You could try making it even more consistent. So there's like never an end to it. But when we were first done with our first ever draft, I would say it took us about maybe 1 week worth of work. Yeah.
Wow. So is that you put in a lot of extra time during your off-school hours?
Yeah, actually, our coach allowed us to bring the bot home so that we could work on it more. And we also have another board that we were able to be provided to us by our carpentry program. They built it for us. I brought it home. I started working on it all night, just like every other assignment I do it for work, you know. Then I just all-nighted it, you know.
Right. So can we see that again? Are we able to maybe get some cool video, Jay? And so Bob is kind of simulating factory cleanup, I guess, right?
Yeah, basically.
Go ahead, do the play-by-play, Veronica.
Play by play.
Play-by-play, like, right now we got Bob the bot is situated.
Daryl is basically aiming it so it could, uh, what do you call it again? Successfully get the cotton ball and drop it to the a cup. After that, I'll go back again and try to reach for the second cotton ball, which we actually had to do in the States because there's two cotton balls in their missions there. And then after that, it goes back again to get the blue bin, or in the task it's called a blue trash bin. It's basically just a PVC pipe, and it needs to go over and drop on this floor right here. Then after that, it goes back again, and for it to be successfully parked in that square area with the line.
And so during this competition, did all of the bots have the same route?
They were coded differently, and and most of them were also built differently. So some of them they probably went different ways also.
But they all had to pick up the cotton ball
Yeah,
and drop
they
it.
all had the same missions.
And let's talk about the engineering side, Lord. What made you build the bot the way you did?
For the bot, we first planned it out using the engineering design process. So continuing with our task, we had to make sure that the bot could accomplish all of them and make sure they're perfect for the design. So like for the parking area, we had to make sure it was compact and made sure it fit into that degree of a square. And second is due to the wall, we also had to accompany a lift motion that has to be caused to make it go into the cup. And our third is our claw, and that is designed to have a wider angle in collecting as much area as it could. And the rubber bands here are actually from Veronica's idea. It's to help with grip and with things like such as the pipe, which is plastic and may cause it to droop down.
Right.
Or our continuous task would be the marbles. It would be so small that it might just fall. So.
Right, and so that was a good idea there, a very practical idea to get those rubber bands in there because you're right, the plastic on plastic could cause some slippage.
Yeah, but like didn't really have a pack of rubber bands, so I had to ask my dad for some. And then thankfully, he actually had a bag of them, so we were just like, okay, let's just wrap it around the claw, and then it worked.
Team captain, let's go back to that moment when you guys found out that you got third place. I know you did very strongly in the first couple rounds, but how'd it feel when they announced you guys' name?
Well, honestly, when we came into there, we thought we wouldn't get anything. So we're honestly super glad that we were able to get third place, represent Guam like that. But when we got third place, we honestly expected us to get first. But then what didn't get us from first, we actually did a three-way tie with two other schools. I believe that the tiebreaker was they took the final round, and then they gave us the score from that. And then on the final round, we would have different placements. Actually, our best one would be middle, second one would be right, and then the last one would be left. And by our luck, it was left. And that was honestly our worst ever one. We were able to get some good spots on it. We were able to get some good points. If we only had, they took an average of all three rounds, and then that was like the main thing that they compared. And because they took the third one, and then they took our worst one, and then they compared it to the other people as a tiebreaker, that honestly brought us down to third. But we honestly could have got first.
So you could have got first, came away with third. How much does that motivate you guys heading into the next competition?
Well, now that we actually found out the true rules, like some rules that we had to build our bot around, and that was a really big thing, was not touching the walls. That was a big factor for us. But then now that we actually figured out that we are able to touch the wall, next year we already created a design that we're planning to do, and that will probably make us win this time because, yeah. So we have high hopes for next year, you know?
There you go. Hey, not bragging, but we're taking it next year. What about? Are we delivering pizza with the bots yet?
Oh, pizza box. So when we got there, we had to create a BOM, which is called a bill of materials. It's basically what engineers do so that they're able to note down how much it would cost to build it, all the supplies that were used, so whatever is not necessary isn't going to be added. When we got there, we forgot to bring it, and because we were all hungry and stuff, we decided, hey, could you buy us pizza? And the pizza box, we actually wrote on it, and then What we wrote on it was our BOM, and everybody thought that was really cool, especially the judges there. And they actually took a lot of videos there, and then, yeah, that was our favorite part.
Cool. Neat little story there. So let's talk about some of the stuff you might have picked up at that competition and brought back to Guam and maybe apply in the work that you're going to do for the next year.
A definite thing that we will be taking with us is during that competition, as mentioned before, a team was very kind enough, as they were senior class and they were actually the 2-year consecutive winners before then. They actually lent us their code to continue on their legacy. And they taught us the special method or building way that we will use touch sensors to help improve our delegate missions on the board.
Right. Can I get a translation on that?
So basically, when we went to the competition in Texas, we were cooperating with the other teams there, and one of the things we struggled with was our code because it was long, it was sort of messy, unorganized, but it worked anyways. So we talked with the other teams about how they did their code, and one of the teams showed us how, so we brought that with us, and that's what Lord said.
There you go. Thank you very much for that translation. Veronica, let's talk about kids out there watching. I know that we're getting STEM into earlier and earlier grade levels. So kids out there watching, tell them how exciting STEM is.
Although robotics is part of STEM, I've been actually a STEM member for like ever since middle school. I was in the
So
STEM.
you're an OG.
Yeah, I wasn't with them with robotics, but I was in STEM. Like in middle school, we had this STEM club and everything. We worked with aquaponics system, and also other things. We cleaned the island, everything else. STEM is a really important part for children right now, since it can get them many careers. It gets them the skills, give them the skills to continue on in life. Just basic math. It can help you with any job out there, like cashier, or when you have to like clean things or whatever. It's just basic things.
Right.
And they need these skills to basically and continue on.
Right, and as a coder, robotics gets all the glory, and I talk with a lot of STEM people, and they say, "Oh, robotics gets all the glory," but there are other facets of STEM, right?
Yeah, just besides robotics, there are other different fields of STEM because robotics is the engineering part, but including in STEM, there's math, technology, and science. So you use a little bit of math here, some science there, but there are other different fields in STEM besides robotics.
Right, and one of the reasons why STEM is so prevalent and it's getting the funding is because there's actually a shortage of personnel in those careers. So a lot of like Embry-Riddle at JFK, they invest in this competition where kids engineer an unmanned drone, and they gave away scholarships. So a lot of these relevant fields are investing in STEM so that they could have a workforce ready. Is that kind of what inspired you to get into STEM?
Yeah, STEM it's a new program that recently we because in middle school or in elementary, no one knew what robotics was. So it was just a new thing to do, and it's important to try out new things,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's great, Lord. It's crazy, man. I mean, I went to Dusatani. There was a STEM competition at Dusatani, and just to see all these kids from Guam, and I'm sure everyone out there has heard the stereotypes. I don't know if you guys witnessed it when you went to the States, but to see so many kids just be so excited about learning and applying the science, technology, engineering, and math to robotics, to engineering, it's really great to see, right?
Yeah, it's really good, especially with our parents. They love seeing us compete in these more educated competitions that will help us in life and continue on our passion and college career.
Daryl? So I wonder, if you go over to Daryl's house, do you have like little robots doing all your chores and stuff?
I'm working on it. Well, at my house, it's mainly just like an old traditional house, but what makes it so special is that I invested into like some drones to work out next year. And next year we also have robotics is also expanding again. This year we worked on underwater robotics, which is basically vehicles that work underwater.
Wow.
But then next year we're expanding onto air robotics, which means that we're going to be working with drones, helicopters, airplanes. Basically, it's new.
It is.
Yeah.
And I see it's like you get used to this and you challenge yourself with the next level.
Yeah, it's all about expanding and then working on to the next level, pushing yourself. And actually, in underwater robotics, we started off with Scout. Oh, wait, yeah, Scout. Next year, we're going to be working on to Navigator, which is even harder. There's even more vigorous tasks. Then the year after that, it's where we have, I believe, Explorer, and it expands onto another year, which is even more, but forgetting the name. But as the years go on in that kind of competition, it always gets harder. This year we worked with joysticks. Next year we're going to be working with cameras, and it's going to be even deeper water. Next one is going to be actually pure code. That's where we have to get sponsorships. And then the year after that, it's where we have to perfect coding. You have to perfect everything. We need to get everything straight.
Wow, so that's quite a lot of work you guys got coming up. What's the plan for the rest of the school year for you guys?
Rest of the school year, we're honestly, because of what we did, we honestly just want to take a break. We want to try learning about new kits instead of EV3. We actually got from another school, they gave us Vex kits. And Vex kits are basically like Legos, but then they have more different motor outputs, so more possibilities with them. And those ones are remote controlled, so that we're able to like try exploring new different buildings that we could make just with remote controlled stuff.
Let's do something fun here. Favorite robot movie?
Favorite robot movie? Trying to think of the name, but I'm forgetting the name. But let's just go with Real Steel, because that's top of my head.
Yeah, my sons and I love that one. I must have watched Real Steel about 100 times.
Yeah, I watched it actually not more than a month ago. I started binge watching it again. I watched it twice because I thought it was that good. What else is another movie? I'm forgetting. Spare Parts. There you go, Spare Parts.
Spare Parts,
Yeah,
right.
Spare
That's a
Parts.
documentary.
Yeah, it's a documentary
Is that
about
inspirational for you guys?
Yeah, because that was kind of the field that we were working on. We were just like them. We didn't have much materials to work with, so then we had to try getting our own pocket money and working on something that worked.
Well, good news. I don't see any duct tape on your butt, so that's a. How about your favorite robot movie?
I mean, if you're a child or anyone, you should at least know Transformers. You know, it's a big, definitely like Bumblebee. You know.
You ever watch Transformers and be like, "This is so unrealistic. There's no way that bot could do that."
I mean, the movies are made to imagine for in the first place, so anything could be happening. I mean, as we expand in technology, there's the robots already being made, humanoid robots, and all these things. So it's
How about Transformers?
I see us big scale already in like some Disneyland, you know.
Veronica, what's your favorite robot movie?
I haven't actually watched any robot movie. I was gonna say Transformers, like Lord.
Took her answer. Big Hero 6, maybe? That's a cool one.
Oh yeah. But I didn't. I guess it came out of my mind. But yeah, those are bots where people are progressing towards to and build them in life and real life. They're, even though they're just movies right now and not a lot of people actually made them yet, they're examples of what could be in the future.
Amen. How about you?
You know, I haven't really watched that much robot movies, but Spare Parts is a really good one because since it's a documentary, it shows what can happen in real life and all the opportunities that, you know, that are possible. And we actually tried to go for underwater robotics just like them. So it's really inspirational to connect with these movies even though it's a documentary. And
Who are some of the people that you guys want to thank?
we definitely want to thank our coaches because, you know, without them, we wouldn't have been able to have gone this far. You know, they taught us most of the basic stuff we need to know. You know, they helped fund it, they helped do all that stuff, held after-school practices. And we also want to thank our parents for help supporting us through this. You know, I bet they're really proud of us.
Pretty sure that's a safe bet. Let's bring it in here. And again, want to thank you guys for having me at home of the Bulldogs. As a proud GW Gecko alumni, I'm very honored to be this far up north, and also very, very proud of the job you guys did. And I wish you the best of luck in the next competition. And you know, all the Guam schools, you know, have been really doing great in the STEM field. So again, you know, coming from an island like Guam, and you know, people say we wear grass skirts, but you know, we're pretty high tech over here, you know. So I'm proud of you guys, and let's hit that rock there. Boom. Yeah, good job, Lord Veronica. Right on. Probably gonna become an honorary Bulldog after this. Yeah, let's give Dap to the. Is it coded to give Dap? He's like, don't dap it too hard. All right, so again, thank you for starting your day the KUAM way. This has been a starting lineup. Our Tuesday show, group chat, trying to use this platform to highlight and showcase people doing great things in the community. So if you're doing something great or you know somebody who is, I'm all over social media. You can message KUAM News Facebook. Again, we're here at Okkodo, home of the Bulldogs and the third place TCEA STEM champions, as well as mock trial. You guys got a lot of champions in this school. Maybe it's something in the water, huh?
Maybe it is. You never know.
All right. So on behalf of the team, my name's Chris. Thanks so much for watching. Adios.